And literally on my second job, I got upgraded into the actor union. I did stand-in work on the first X-Men movie. Is there? Hey, you can't back down. Let's stop being Canadian. That all kind of drifted and went away. But all these different events led to a lot of the American work in Canada just disappearing overnight. Okay, from making stupid, ridiculous, easy money to no money. Yeah. But the world was shutting down. It was like, oh, now what? Moved in with my sister, and I was like, well, what do I do? And that's when my hero stepped in.
Who's your hero?
My hero was you meet the right people in any industry and whatever they're passionate about, it's infectious. Hey, remember when you wanted to be an actor? I was like, well, how? This is probably the worst thing you can say to a casting director or a director who's casting you. But I had to turn it around, and I thanks a lot, guys. What have you been doing at this institution? We're back. We're back. I think you have to take the question of money out of the equation. You have to, like, when you decided to become an actor, why did you want to be an actor? And you're going to show them this is the skill, not just the talent, because talent takes you far. This is the work ethic and the skill that Canadian actors have. Looking directly in the camera now, because I want every actor to hear this.
No way.
Yeah.
Now, before we get into the interview, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel on YouTube and Spotify. It would help us out so much. People look at how many followers you have when you're looking for things like branding or extra special guests. So if you could subscribe, I would super, super, super appreciate it. Sorry, what were you saying?
There's all these different interviews you see where like actors interviewing other actors. And there's a famous one where you see Brad Pitt interviewing Adam Sandler. Right?
Yeah.
And he's like, Mike, he goes, the favorite story I've ever heard about Adam Sandler is, he goes, you ran into an old acting coach once after you were famous. And Adam Sandler's like, oh yeah, I know this story. Like, so when he was just starting off, he did acting lessons, or he took acting classes, I think at NYU or somewhere. And this acting teacher at one point took him aside and went, Adam, this, not for you. Like, you don't have it. Right, I would recommend doing something else.
Yeah.
Right, and but the way he did it was he didn't just take him aside. He took him out for a beer. Took him out for a beer at a restaurant, bought him a beer or two, and was like, kid, maybe you should look at doing something else. And then years later, Adam Sandler bumps into this guy in the street, and Adam Sandler's out with all his bros, his buddies, right? And Brad Pitt's like, you think that would be the time when you'd be like, ha! See, didn't that? And apparently what Adam Sandler did is he turned to all his friends and his buddies and he said, hey, see this guy here, past acting teacher of mine, only teacher ever bought me a beer.
Aww.
And that's the way he handled it.
That's
like,
so
that's
classy.
classy, right?
Oh, I aspire to such class. I don't know if I have it in me.
What makes you think you don't already? Come on.
I got a little bit of pettiness. There's a little Tom Petty in me.
Well, that's okay. That means you're just musically gifted and talented, and you're
Right.
You're going to be legendary.
Exactly.
That's right. You can't back down. You won't back down.
Can't back down now. It's too late. It's too late. So let's start at the beginning. Is where I like to start.
Okay. Well,
in the beginning. When you were conceived. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, my mom and dad met. No.
So, did you do acting in school at all?
How far back do you want? Well, the first bit of acting experience I ever did was high school.
Okay.
I went to an all-boys Catholic high school.
Nice.
Neil McNeil High School. Woo! Right.
Shout out.
There's gonna be a lot of shout outs in this thing. I'm gonna name drop like crazy. So no, I went to Neil McNeil's Catholic High School on Kingston Road, Victoria Park. Known for its alumni, Larry Gowan, numerous NHL hockey players, and the infamous John Candy.
Oh.
Right? What John Candy and I both have in common, other than going to that high school.
It's extremely
talented.
Obviously,
the talent, clearly, right? I mean, I don't want to brag too much. Not too much.
This is the place to brag.
This is the place to brag.
Canadians are so humble. I'm trying to break everyone.
Let's stop being Canadian.
That's right.
But when he was at Neil McNeil, I believe he was the on student council as the treasurer, and I was elected to the student council as treasurer. So pretty much our career paths have just aligned
ever since.
Right, ever since.
Same.
Right. So I did a high school play my last year of high school there, The Odd Couple. It was a lot of fun. That was the first time I was like, this is fun. I like this. And I went, okay, I was more of a math and science major in high school. And I went, nope, I'm going to go to film school. Which, much to the delight of my mother. Like, you what?
They're like, science, yes,
Yay,
science, yes.
You're going to be a doctor.
Just kidding, arts.
Arts.
Fuck.
Although my dad, I think was probably like, yes.
Yeah?
Because I think he was.
Is he artsy?
No, my dad was a carpenter,
Okay.
very skilled carpenter, and he used to build sets for TV shows on the CBC.
Oh.
So he would build like sets for the National, the Journal, the news shows, but he also built sets for Wayne and Schuster comedy special.
Nice.
Look it up, kids. It's probably worth a Google. The Kids in the Hall, when they first started off, he would build the sets for the Kids in the Hall.
Oh, that's wicked.
Yeah, I remember him coming home from work one day, and he had a script, and I wish I'd kept it from. He goes, "This is weird group of kids called the Kids in the Hall. They seem really funny, but their stuff is really odd." And like, and I'm looking at the script, like I'm reading the script, like this is kind of weird stuff, but whatever.
That's
But I went in the
so
recycling
funny.
bin a week later.
You
Now I'm
would
like,
have been
son
so
of a
rich.
I
so
know,
rich.
right? Here's an original script for the pilot episode of the Kids in the Hall.
That's
so,
nuts.
Yeah, and he was from. My parents were from Northern Ireland,
Right.
where I'm from actually originally.
Yes, I saw you're born in Belfast.
I was born in Belfast, came here when I was just two at the time, as my mother would say. Yeah, we immigrated to Canada in 1972. My dad just loved Hollywood and going to the pictures, as many Europeans would, and wanted to move to New York initially. He did go to New York.
Settled for Canada.
For a year. Well, it was the next best thing. He went to New York, worked in New York for a year, came back, fell in love with my mom. If you've seen Kenneth Branagh's Belfast movie, that's essentially my parents' story.
Nice.
Well, when I watched that movie, it was like, can I write a letter to Kenneth Branagh and say thank you for telling my parents' story? Right? It was just beautiful. So my dad wanted to come back to the States, but his work visa and everything had expired. So I was like, well, I don't want to stay here in Northern Ireland at the time, because what was going on was what the Northern Irish affectionately refer to as the Troubles, which is such a cute little term for, you know, what was going. Again, worth the Google, kids. No,
The cutest name for their shittiest time.
The
Troubles.
So he took us out of Northern Ireland, and he wanted to go back to the States, but because his work visa and everything expired, he's like, well, where else can I go? Canada was close, and it was a lot easier to get into Canada. So we emigrated to Canada, and it was like, you can either go to Winnipeg or Toronto. My dad went, Toronto. Nothing against Winnipeg. Without hesitation, we're going to Toronto, because it's that much closer to the state. That's much closer to New York.
That's right. Yeah. And not as cold.
Not as cold, right? Yeah. Although, when my dad came here 6 months ahead of the rest of the family, and then when my mother came, it was like when she arrived with a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old and a little Yorkshire Terrier puppy dog in what was apparently like one of the worst blizzards that had hit Canada in the early 70s. It was, and she traveled for like 10 hours. She was exhausted.
She's like, immediately no.
Oh my God, yeah. So, yeah, and haven't looked back. Right?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wicked. So then you went to art school or film
I went to film school. I went to York University Film School.
Okay,
in
nice.
In the early 90s. I was very passionate about it. I really, maybe I could have gone to theater school instead, but I was a little bit more shy, introverted, and well, maybe I'll work behind the camera. Acting was fun, and I really enjoyed it. But I was like, I'll work behind the scenes and not be the one in front of the camera, because that just seems scary. But then I do remember doing, jumping in front of the camera for some of my fellow students for this one project in particular, and it was one of those things that every actor experiences where it's like, okay, action, and then suddenly you're just in the zone, and you're having that out-of-body experience where everything just feels natural and is clicking, and everything's going great. And when it was all said and done, the other students were like, are you sure you're on the right side of the camera? And then I did take a couple of acting classes while at York Film School. And I remember one of the teachers coming to me at the end of the class, if you want to switch your major, Sean, I'll back you up and we'll be able to do that. No, it's okay. I'll still do the film school thing.
Nice.
And I did film school for 4 years there. This will be a to be continued story. So I did film school for the 4 years, and after 4 years, I was a little burnt out. I hadn't finished the degree. There was a couple of credits that I would have to do, and it was like, I don't feel like going back for another year. I need to take a break. So I decided, no, I'm not going to go back. So I finished 4 years without a degree, and I'm going to do some traveling. I had some relatives overseas, did some traveling, got to travel to Europe for a little bit, got to travel to Africa for a bit, see the world, as it were, get some real life exposure. Came back and had that acting itching bug in me. I'm like, well, how do I get into it? I don't want to go back to theater school now and start all over again for another 4 years or whatever. So I can't remember how I found out about it or heard about it, but even back then, Second City was offering their improv classes. So I signed up for some improv classes there, and I was hooked. It was like, this is so much fun. Like, I wasn't the greatest improviser. I was still learning to...
I think he's being humble again.
Yeah. Do you believe me? Does everybody there believe me? No. No, like, it was one of those classes where I sit there and I watch some of these other students just be so free with what they're doing, and I like just in awe of what they could do and how they could just let themselves go. And like, you know, it's like when you're doing improv, it's like we don't say no. Like, but I want to say no.
But what about what I want?
Yes, and, but no. Instead of they're all doing yes, and I'm going no, but.
No, but what would be better?
What would be better? Yeah. So, but I took the Second City improv classes, and that was a lot of fun. Met some people and transitioned into this thing back then called theater sports, which was
theater sports.
Theater sports, which was.
I nodded like I knew that what that was, but I processed it, and I was like, "The fuck is that?"
Essentially, it was maybe like the precursor to Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Okay.
Where, you know, groups of individual improv performers would get
like
up on get on stage and play improv
like
games.
Physical sports.
Yeah.
And I'm,
right.
Okay.
But then again, being the safe person that I was, like, okay, do you want to host the show, Sean? I'm like, yeah, I can host it. I don't have to do that way. I don't have to play the games. I'll just host it. So I did that for about a season or two, and that was a lot of fun. It was on Queen Street West back in the 90s.
Excellent.
The 90s in my mind were just a couple of years ago.
You were the Drew Carey of Whose Line?
I was slightly thinner.
Just better looking.
Better looking, right? Not as good looking as the host they have now. Oh, she's quite the fog. But
True.
Yes. So I did that for a season. Again, met some great people, and then I got a background agent.
Okay, nice.
And this is where, like, my mother used to say, you know, sometimes, Sean, you would fall in shit and come out smelling like a bed of roses. So I got a background agent, and literally on my second job, I got upgraded into the actor union on my second gig.
No
There
way.
are background
They give you
actors.
lines? How'd that happen?
No, it was.
How did this happen?
Well, I
Tell me
could
immediately.
reenact that for you right now because it was such a dramatic scene. It was on a TV show called TekWar. TekWar was a William Shatner produced and written series based on a comic book and series of novels that he'd written about futuristic cops, right? And it starred Greg Evigan, I believe, who was infamously known for a TV show back in the 70s and 80s called BJ and the Bear, which was a truck driver show where he was the truck driver and his partner was a chimp. So it was serious drama. But he was the star of the show. It was just a futuristic cop show. And I was brought in to play a cop doing a prisoner transfer. It was me and this other cop. And we're acting with legendary Canadian actor Tom McCamus. I'm messing up his name.
I'll believe you.
Yeah. But we're not really acting with him because he was on a video monitor and stuff had been recorded earlier. So we're just, like, I'm driving this futuristic van like this, and I've got my partner here, and like the video monitor will pop up, and it's supposed to be him in the back of the van that we're driving, and he pops up talking to us like, "I hope you officers are prepared for anything, because isn't that your motto?" When we're like supposed to just look at him like look at each other like this guy should shut up or whatever. They don't know what he's talking about. Of course we're prepared. And then the console in front of us blows up and we get electrocuted. So literally I do this and I die in a dramatic fashion. You know, and you can probably look that up on YouTube too. It's
link below.
Stellar, yeah. Click right here.
I will. If I find it, I will.
I could probably find it and send it to you.
Beautiful.
So, but because, even though it was through a video monitor and a pre-recorded thing, because we had directly interacted with the actor, ACTRA went, you guys should have hired actors to play these two cops instead of background people.
No way.
So we got upgraded into the union right then and there. And I was like,
well, damn.
this is easy, right?
I like
I'm
this
an actor
acting
apprentice member with
thing.
my one credit, and that would have been
amazing.
mid-90s, and then like for another 4 or 5 years of working in the industry, never got another credit.
I was going to say, did you go in immediately? That's hilarious.
I was just an actor apprentice member.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was getting like full actor pay.
I was
do
going to say,
background.
some more
Yeah.
money. Is
Yeah, more
fantastic.
money. Front of the line when it came call for lunch, like, oh, well, the union background people got to eat first before the
That's
rest of the,
right.
like.
The peasants.
Yeah. Then I started doing a lot of stand-in work. So I got to do, and I got a reputation as like a good stand-in performer, which is, for those of you who are wondering, stand-in work is literally what the job is described as. You stand there. Sometimes sit if you're lucky, but mostly you stand there. Like, they'll bring the actors in, they'll rehearse the scene. You're assigned to one actor or maybe a couple, and then when they finish rehearsing, the actors will go off to hair and makeup and wardrobe and get all ready, and then you will go and stand in, replace where they were while they set up the camera and the lights and everything like that. So,
Nice.
and they needed union people to do that because it's a highly skilled, highly trained.
It's a very
That's
difficult
not to bemoan any real
job.
stand-in people out there. It's actually
There's heart surgery, and then there's stand-in actors.
yeah, and then there's
really.
cops and firemen, like, and politicians, like, right, you know. So, stand-in work, if you get it, so if it's a union gig, it was great pay. You're there all day, so
Nice.
you'd get a full day's work. You'd get, you know, if you're there with the full crew all day long, you're getting probably overtime every single day. If you landed a regular stand-in gig on a feature film, you're looking at 3-4 months of steady gigs.
That'd be great.
If you land a TV series, you're looking at like 6 to 8 months steady gig, right? And I
Nice.
lucked into that. Like I did stand-in work on the first X-Men movie. I did stand-in
Nice.
work on Bride of Chucky. You know, with Katherine Heigl before Katherine Heigl was Katherine Heigl, right? You know.
yeah.
I did stand-in work on a TV series called Little Men for 2 seasons. Little Men was a series they decided to do based on Little Women. They continued the story, saying, you know, the sisters are all grown up, and now they decided to open up the house into being a school for young boys, and then they would just continue
Okay.
on that story.
Nice.
So yeah, but you're doing all this regular work, and like, I'm not auditioning for anything. I'm making really stupid good money, but I'm not auditioning for anything.
Fair.
So yeah, but that all kind of drifted and went away
Yeah.
overnight. Yeah, that all kind of.
On purpose or?
No, not on purpose. It had nothing to do with my intentions. Like, I was quite happy, you know, I was happy as a pig in shit, you know, making good money doing this. I wasn't auditioning, but I was still in the industry and I was happy. But there was, like there was last year, there was a couple of guild strikes near the late 90s. And a lot of the work up in Canada kind of just disappeared. It was like,
Yeah.
hello, steady paycheck. Where'd that go?
True.
And then there was the tragedy of 9/11 also happened, and hey, quiet. No,
Stop having fun.
but all these different events led to a lot of the American work in Canada just disappearing overnight.
Yeah.
And unless you were working on Due South or some sort of CBC show, you weren't working. So it's like, okay, from making stupid, ridiculous, easy money to no money.
Yeah.
I ended up moving from where I was in Markham back to Burlington, where my sister was living at the time, and moved in with my sister. And again, there was no work, so I ended up getting a part-time job at a GNC store, because that was my other passion, was sports supplements. And
I was gonna ask you, how
exercising
did
with-
sports nutrition
Yeah.
fall into your life?
yeah, so I got a part-time job at a GNC store, which converted into a full-time job at the store, becoming the store's assistant manager and then manager. And then after doing that for about a year and a half, got a job at a wholesale distributor of sports supplements.
Okay.
Who that's the industry that would sell the products to the different stores that are out there. And then blink and 15, 16 years later, it's like, oh, am I still doing this? I loved my time doing it. Like there were so many great people in that industry, especially. It's like any industry that if you meet the right people who are really passionate about what they do, it makes it a lot of fun. And there's a lot of people that work in the industry that are just super passionate about what they about that. Right? There are people who work in that industry who are passionate and love business, and that's just the way they like to make money or the way they like to conduct business. And there are people who work in that industry who are just super passionate about health and nutrition and working out and everything. And you meet the right people in any industry and whatever they're passionate about, it's infectious.
That's
right?
true.
So, so yeah, I did that for quite a while.
Amazing.
And every so often, I'd still get that little voice in the back of my head going, hey, remember when you wanted to be an actor? We're still here.
You can't bury
Hey,
me.
you can't bury me. What was that? What did I hear? What was that?
I'll find you.
I'll find you. Right? So, yeah.
So when did you decide to jump back into acting?
There was this thing called COVID. I don't know if you heard about it.
I mean, a little bit.
A little bit? Yeah, I don't know, So COVID happened, and it was at a time in my life where as much as I was still enjoying that industry, my heart wasn't in it anymore. And the company I was working for at the time was probably like, yeah, we could tell. That's why we fired your ass. No. And no matter what industry you're working in, if your heart's not in it, you're not doing the people you're working for a favor by staying in it, and you're really not doing yourself a favor. I bang the mic there. You're not doing yourself a favor. So it was one snowy evening in March. I was walking on the golf course as the world had shut down, and I got the phone call from my employer saying, things don't seem to be working out, Sean. We're going to have to let you go. And I went, okay. I understand. Bye.
Makes sense.
Hung up the phone. And when the thought goes through, if you get a call like that, and the thought that goes through your head is, oh God, thank God that's over. Yeah, maybe it was the right thing to happen. So.
Right? When the feeling is relief.
Woo! Right? It's like, okay. And then the next second is like, oh, now what? Right? But the world was shutting down. And I was like, well, what do I do? And that's when my hero stepped in.
Who's your hero?
My hero is my sister.
Aww.
My sister. Her name is Karen.
Shout out, Karen.
Shout out Karen. Karen is... Couldn't get emotional. Karen isn't just a Karen. She's the Karen. She's the Karen you want Karens to be, right?
Excellent.
She's not the one that's going to sit in the restaurant and go, I need to speak to the manager. My foam on my coffee is not as foamy as it should be, and my diamond tip shoes are too tight. Like, no. She's the one that, she will have, when she's got your back, she's the warrior you want in your corner.
Aww.
And she's like, Sean, your heart has always been in acting and performing and stuff like that. Why don't you look at going back to that? And I was like, well, how? She said, well, why don't you go, here's an idea. Why don't you call up York University and see if you can finish your degree? Because everything's online now.
True.
I was like, well, there's an idea, smarty pants. Why didn't I think of that? And I was like, okay. I'm like, but what about money? Like, I'm not going to be making any money if I choose to go into the, starving acting profession.
Yeah, right.
My sister does quite well for herself. And she's like, look, this is what really makes you happy, and I will support you for as long as it takes. Just remember me when things take off, right?
Just thank me first.
So,
all your
she's
work.
my rock, she's my world, and there's nothing I wouldn't do for her.
That's amazing.
So I was like, okay, called up York or sent them an email, and they're like, well, send us your transcript. Let's have a look. They had a look at it. I got an email back saying, take this, and we will give you your degree.
Amazing.
I was like, okay. So I signed up for a few courses at York University to finish the degree. 2 were in the industry, film related.
Nice.
Then 2 were like, take whatever you want. One of them was a course called The Biology of Story, because it sounded like an interesting name of a course. And whenever the description is like, the study of story and storytelling and how much it's integral to our lives, and it's, a bigger picture in everything that we do than we might originally think. And when you look at it, you're like, oh my God, story is everywhere, right? The mandate in the course was story is a living thing. And the more you examine that phrase and examine the course, you're like, wow, this is great. thebiologyofstory.com. There's name drop number 2 or whatever.
Name drop and the link below.
And the link below. I met a couple of great people in that course that were running the course at the time.
Nice.
Morgan Feeks and Jean-Vive Eppleton, who I both consider mentors of mine now, close personal dear friends and mentors. They really opened up my mind to how powerful story is and how it's a connective thing that we all share, right? Like you hear the saying, we all have more in common than we have different.
Right.
Well, when you look at story, it really reaffirms that, right? And it really reaffirms the story is a living thing. So I'm still involved in that course today because there's an online version of it. So I still help with that course as much as I can. But
nice.
It's a beautiful. You can go to the website that was dropped. If you do go to it, there's an interactive website there where has hundreds of hours of footage of interviews with story creators from all walks of life.
Oh, no way.
From the arts, from the sciences, from philosophy, from politics, talking about story and how stories interact with us and help propel us. That's why. That's why. And whenever I'm auditioning for something, I get close to getting something. This is probably the worst thing you can say to a casting director or a director who's casting you. But I say it to them all the time, like.
But I say it anyway all the time.
But I still say it all the time. Like if they really like the stuff I've done for them in the audition or the work that I've done for them, I always say to them, and this is me being completely honest, like the story will tell you who it wants to tell it, right? So if I'm coming in and I'm auditioning for you and you're loving what I'm giving you and thinking, oh, this is, what Sean has done is beautiful, we have to hire him. If the story is like, no, he's great, but it's not what we need for this story. Listen to the story. The story will help you tell the story. The story knows what it wants to tell.
Right.
And it will tell you, this is how I need to be told, and these are the tools I need to get my story told. These are the vessels I want to use as the voice for me to come out. Fortunately for me, the times I've told that to the directors and cast directors are like, that's great. And then I get the call the next day saying, the story told us that it needed you, right?
Nice. Thought it was gonna be like the story said thanks, but no thanks.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah. Thanks. Next.
Next. The story said, well, there's a casting catch up there. No. That's a different story. So yeah, where was I? I was at York and I took that class and I took up this and I finished the degree. Nice. And it was like, only took me 30 years, but I finished my bachelor. Woo! Never quit, kids.
That's right.
There's no quit. # don't quit. So I finished the degree, and then I was on a couple of different email lists at York at the time, and I got these 2 emails about these student films that were looking to cast, and that was when the voice popped up and went, "Hi! Now's the time!
Me.
We're back! We're back!" Right? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to throw my hat in the ring. I'm going to reach out to these 2 student films and let's have some fun. Let's see if I can audition for these things.
Wicked. Which films were those?
One called Just Sign Here.
Okay.
And another one called Andre and the Kid.
Nice.
Just Sign Here was a story about this corporate boss where there's an accident on his work site and he's trying to get the one employee who has witnessed the accident to sign off on this form so the company wouldn't be liable for it. And I'd be auditioning for the bad guy, like the corporate boss who's like, well, just sign here. It's all fine. It's all. And then the other one, Andre the Kid, was this story about a girl steals I'm on my way, again, kind of maybe like a corporate type or someone who's like on the rush, on the go. I'm on my way to this really important meeting, but then this little girl or little boy at the time steals my wallet, and I chase her into an elevator, and we get stuck in the elevator for the duration of the short film, and we have this big, give me back wallet. I don't have your wallet, and this big. Over 10 minutes of the story, 10, 11 minutes, there's a heart to heart, and you get to know each other, and by the end of it, it's like, oh, I like it, right? Aww. So they were both interesting things to audition for.
Nice.
So I auditioned for both of them.
Do you have an agent at this point?
No, I did not.
No, just sort of like,
This is the universe aligning and everything, things coming into play. So I auditioned for these 2 things, and a couple of weeks go by, and I don't hear anything. I was like, oh, well, it was fun to, like, I didn't even know what that audition was. Give us a self-tape, okay? Sure. Google, what is a self-tape? Okay, said, all right. And I didn't know any of the things like, you know, have a blank wall behind you, and like, okay, for the corporate one, who's running a company? Well, I'll set up in front of this bookshelf because that looks very corporate-y. And like, I got the, and like, I didn't even know it at the time. I'm going to send them 2 versions. I'm going to send them kind of like a James Spader from The Office type, like dick type character, or I'm going to send them one where I'm the sympathetic boss. And I sent them both. And the other one, same type of thing, like got the iPod sitting, my iPhone sitting on a ladder because I didn't even have a tripod, shining like desk lamps on me to give you some sort of lights against the back wall to do the like.
You got to start with what you have.
Start with what you have, you know, when you don't have a clue. I don't have a clue, but I've got all this other stuff. Let's just give that a shot.
I love it.
Sent them the 2 tapes. A couple of weeks go by, I don't hear anything. And I'm thinking, well, it was fun to at least. It was a fun thing to try. And you know, as I'm stringing, what am I going to do next? And I'm literally out cutting my lawn one day, and the phone rings. And I'm like, hello. Like, oh, hi, this is such and such from, I think it was called First. It was the guys from Just Sign Here called First. And they're like, Sean, we're sorry to get back to you so late. We really love the audition you sent in, and we want you to play, we won't offer you the role. I'm like,
amazing.
Oh, awesome, cool. Like, yeah, this will be fun. This will be great. And they're like, great, fantastic. Yep, Abraham David, a guy that, you know, there's a link below. You should check out his stuff. He's super talented.
Below.
Yeah. They had this great script that I read it. This would be a lot of fun. Fantastic. Hung up the phone. I was like, I'm on cloud 9. This is great. I got one of these things. 20 minutes later, the phone rings again.
Stop.
And this is this kid, Austin Lindsay. Again, link below, super talented kid. And Austin's like, Sean, we just saw, we're starting to get back to you late. We're casting for Andre and the Kid, and we want to offer you the role of Andre. And I'm like, oh.
What a good day.
Great. I just said yes to another student film at York, so I don't know if I can do it because I'm doing this other one. They're like, who did you say yes to? And I'm like, oh, I said yes to this guy, Abraham David. Austin's there, he's like, fucking son of a bitch, he's always taking my actors. Can we call you back? I'm like, yeah, sure, right? 20 minutes go by, he calls back. Okay, we've talked to Abe. We're going to figure out our schedule so we can both use you. And I'm like,
oh, that's amazing.
I'm like, well, this is easy. Just audition and I get it. No problem. I got them fighting over me already.
Schedule around me?
Yeah, that's right. They're going to work their schedules around me. Like, this acting thing is a breeze. No problem.
I love it.
So I did these 2 student films. They were both phenomenal stories, beautifully done by these guys.
Nice.
I was so caught up in the energy, enthusiasm that they had. Like, to all actors who are just starting out, I try to find student films that are being shot out there. Like, maybe it won't be stellar, maybe it won't be like Citizen Kane or that's an old movie, kids. Look it up.
Look it up.
Right? Probably worth a Google. Maybe it's not, you know, Inception or something by Christopher Nolan. Or
Yeah.
But you know, they're all trying to do their best, and they're all learning.
Yeah.
And you know, from a business side of things, like, you're working now with the young and up and coming filmmakers of the future.
Yeah.
So get in there young and get on their good side, because you never know, right? Right, Austin? Right, Abe? Right?
Remember me?
Remember me? Who I've worked with since then on a couple of things, right?
Nice.
But yeah, they're always trying to do young, and you never know who you meet.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So when I did the Andre and the Kid one, the scene where I was in the elevator turned out to be a little girl, and they changed it from a girl to a boy. Alyssa Gervasi, super talented young actress who's done the Umbrella Academy and a bunch of other things. Yeah. She played the young Elliot Page character in the Umbrella Academy when they were doing flashback stuff.
Nice.
She's done a whole bunch of other stuff. Her mother was like, who's your agent, Sean? And I'm like, I don't have an agent. And like, well, we're changing that. She called up a friend of hers, like, I got a guy that you got to meet who doesn't have an agent. So, yeah. So
divine.
Two student films, agent right away.
That's
right?
amazing.
Yeah.
You do have a horseshoe up your ass.
Yep. Mother,
Oh
I fell in
my
shit and smell like roses.
Do you still have that agent?
I still have that agent today.
Nice.
Yeah,
Who's your agent? Shout out your agent.
They're called. Well, this is the fun part. When I first signed on, they were called the Agency Talent Management.
The Agency Talent Management.
Yes,
That's a
Marilyn and
mouthful.
Alexandra.
Just cover all.
I believe they've dropped the talent management part. Now they just go by the agency.
The agency.
Which is really super fun when you're doing a slate.
Yeah, you look.
When you're doing something like,
from.
Hi, I'm
the
Sean Irvine. I'm
agency."
5'11", and I'm with the agency. That's all I can tell you. If I tell you anymore, I have to kill you.
I know, right? I'm like, so they're priming you for like James Bond.
Yeah, right. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah. I hear you're recasting.
I'm from
You want to go
the
older than the actor you had? That's I'm your guy.
That's
Oh,
right.
and Canadian?
Canadian.
I'll have a
We've got
martini,
this
not
random
shaken, eh?
Canadian guy. Shaken, eh? Shaken, eh?
Yeah.
Not stirred.
Martini, Mr. Butt? No, I'll have a Molson X. What you got back there?
Grab my car. I'm gonna go for a rip.
Where's the Canadian Bond? Let's do it.
Oh, he's so bad. Let's
Right.
do it. Who wants to film
Let's
it?
do
We're
it.
here. We're ready.
So, yeah, and I haven't looked back since. Right?
That's amazing.
So I've still done the odd in the 2.5 years since I've been back in the business. Did a few more student films.
Yeah.
One with Abe again. This
Nice.
beautiful little one called Stone, which was a wonderful twist on the Medusa story.
Oh.
Where, link below.
Link below.
I got to work
We're gonna
with.
have so many links below.
I know. There's gonna be a list of like, oh my god, how
okay.
many links to show?
Shout out, shout out, shout out.
Well, they need all the YouTube hits they can get,
That's right.
right? I got to work with Abe and that crew again. I got to work with a lot of people I worked with before. The actress that I worked with and just signed here was playing Medusa. She was great, fantastic. She's an expat from the States, moved up to Canada, and she's making it as an actress now herself. She got to play Medusa, and the twist on the story. Savannah Meslin, by the way, another name drop. Savannah Meslin played Medusa. The twist on the story was I played Perseus and she played Medusa, and instead of Perseus going to kill Medusa, he went to kill Medusa and ended up falling in love with her instead. And then he went back to the king and said, "Yep, all taken care of."
Clear.
Right? Clear, it's all good. Or then they kind of had a secret affair. Then years later, the king finds out, "You lying sack of... Go kill her," right?
Oh,
so
no.
it's like it picks up with him having to go back like, "Sorry, we have to really do this." So I won't tell you how it ends, but it was
Dun, dun, dun.
dun, dun, dun. It was a nice, beautiful little love story.
Nice.
Yeah. So a lot of commercial auditions, a lot of commercial work.
Are you acting?
I am
yet?
not. I am still not.
Me neither.
I'm trying to be.
Yeah?
I
You
think
wanna
I
jump
think
in?
I'd like to make the jump.
Nice.
I
nice.
know the trade-off then would be goodbye to a lot of the commercial auditions that
Yeah, right
you know,
now, yeah.
which is
silly.
I feel for all the union people who are like, I was making a living as a union performer doing commercials. I'm
Especially like commercials can pay bills.
they can pay some serious bills,
Some
right?
serious bills.
Right? And it's like, yeah, how do you? And for the people who are now non-union who are making buck doing non-union commercial work, if they want to jump into the unions, like how do I give up that money
Yeah.
to go do and I've had this discussion with numerous people over the past year or two about, do you go union or non-union or whatever? And I was like, well, I think you have to take, as not realistic as it is, as painful as it could be, I think you have to take the question of money out of the equation. You have to, like, when you decided to become an actor, why did you want to be an actor? What kind of acting do you want to do? If you're someone's like, I just want to do commercials and make a living, like, okay, great. Like, stick
Yeah.
with that, right?
Right.
I want to do, I want to work in the indie film scene. Okay, stay in the non-union world, right?
Yeah.
There's plenty of non-union films and TV shows and things that you can still do.
Absolutely.
But you have the odd actor like, yeah, but I want to do a Law and Order episode or episodes, or I
Yeah.
want to do, union feature films. Like if that's the type of work you want to do, then you have to take, again, as tough as it is, you got to take the money
Take
out
the
of the
leap.
equation and
Yeah.
and just follow your heart as to what what medium of what field of acting you want to work in, right?
That's true.
You know,
That's true.
it's not easy. It's not an easy choice to do, and not everybody is in a situation where they can make that decision financially. But if you can take that out of the equation and think about it, the answer will come to you. Like, that's what I want to do, right? So, like, I know a friend of mine who does a lot of commercials, and she's recently had to make the decision: do I transition into union work? And I believe she's going into that, right? But now she might have to say goodbye to a lot of union work. But she's super skilled, and she's great at what she does, and she's got that reputation now that, you know, she's a professional. She's familiar on set, and people love her. So, as long as those messages transfer over into the casting directors and the union stuff, then she should be fine.
Yeah.
And I'm rooting for her because she's amazing.
Nice.
I'm the golden retriever of the industry. I root for everybody. You ask around who Sean is a golden retriever. Go, do good, right?
We love a good golden retriever.
Yeah, that's me, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I wasn't the person that called me that once. That was my acting coach. She's like, you're a golden retriever
kind of person.
And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll go with that. I'll take that.
Didn't even fight it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what, you're right.
Now pet my belly. So, my acting coach and a dear friend of mine, a mentor, gave me that name. Gave me that, like, you're this. I'm like, yeah, I am.
Love it.
Yeah,
That's
I'll
hilarious.
Go with it. So.
Are you in classes now? Do you take acting classes?
I am. If I was to drop any advice to any actors out there, keep your skills sharp as much as you can, right?
Yeah.
If you've gone to theater school or acting school and you're finished, great. Are you ever really finished, though? You're never really finished. Like, do something every day and sign up for one of the numerous acting studios there are in the city.
Yeah.
I study at the Raw Acting Studio.
Nice.
I cannot recommend it higher. They are phenomenal people. Sophie Rooney and Grisha Pasternak. That's the big shout out. If I'm going to drop anything today, that's one to do.
Link below.
Yes, multiple links. They're doing something really special, I think, at that studio where they have a nice balance of the art and the business side. They're like,
oh, that's
you know,
good.
like
That's
we know it's still a business, but they really want to push the Canadian skill that there is and get it as much to the forefront as possible. So
amazing.
They're like, they will prepare you to be the best actor you can be. And that way, when you go to audition, you're going to bring your A game. You're going to be a professional, and you're going to show them this is the skill, not just the talent, because talent takes you so far. This is the work ethic and the skill that Canadian actors have. So when they're presented to casting directors from anywhere, they're like, well, we have to hire this person, no matter what. So to help elevate everybody in this industry by dipping into this pool of great Canadian talent and skill that there is. And that's one of the big messages the Raw Acting Studio promotes, right?
Love that.
Yeah, so that like, we know the business side will raise if we make sure when you guys go to audition, you've got all the skills. So, and if you want to be professional, then we're going to treat you just as one. Like, this is where you have to be. This is the work ethic you got to put in. These are the skills you have to have, right? You can't just rely on, you know, just your instincts and your good looks.
They apparently only get you so far.
They only get you so far. But, you know, like, are you prepared to walk onto a set and them say, we have to throw out all of today's work and here's 5 new pages of dialogue we need you to have down within the next hour?
Yeah.
Right?
That is a nightmare I have had.
Right? And
stress dreams are
it's
real.
the type of acting studio that will prepare you for that. Like,
Yeah.
this is the stuff that you need to do. So you work beyond the lines and past the lines. The lines are so ingrained in you that you can do them backwards and forwards, and you're trained more to listen to what the other actors are doing or what's going on around you. So your character is reacting more to than just saying, my line, your line, my line, your line, my line. Did I say that one? I want to say that one again, right?
It forces you more in the moment.
Forces you more in the moment. Forces you to be more prepared.
Amazing.
Right. So
that's awesome.
And they're also doing they just started up a sister studio called the King Black Box Theater, where they are now doing theatrical productions in the studio, and it's a very intimate surrounding. Right. They did their first play earlier this summer called The Glory of Living.
Right.
Very intense production, but we received rave reviews. The cast was phenomenal. I include myself in that, but I only
Include yourself.
I was phenomenal. No, the cast was phenomenal. They watching them work blew me away. Like when I got back into it, my agent's like, "You want to do theater work too?" I'm like, scary. Getting in front of people.
No way, really?
No, oh, terrified. I was like, no.
You're more
memorize the whole
comfortable
play.
with film?
Now, film, yeah.
Yeah.
Film, TV, commercials, yeah.
Yeah.
Theater, I was like, fuck no. I'm
No
not getting up there on the stage
way.
in front of everybody, like basically like, hello, expose myself like that. Here come all the lines that I remember. But Sophie.
Were you worried about memorization?
I was.
Yeah?
Not so much anymore.
That's
I
good.
think that's a natural
Is
thing.
that because it came with practice, or did you have a certain technique that you use that helps you memorize?
It comes with practice.
Okay,
Like my
nice.
technique was very old school, like writing the lines down repeatedly and then blah, blah, blah. But that can only take you so far.
Yeah.
I use the Line Learner app. I find that helps a lot.
Nice.
I'll
Link below.
link below. I'm sure the majority of actors are probably using Line Learner app because it's really effective.
Yeah, they should really sponsor this podcast.
They really should sponsor. Line Learner should sponsor this podcast. But in her generosity, Sophie Rooney at the Raw Actor Studio, I'd studied there, taking multiple different classes with them, and they had open call auditions for the King Black Box Theater when they were just starting off, and I went to do that. I had to go in and do a monologue and do 2 monologues, do a song, and I went to go do that, and I thought at the very least it'll be an experience as part of my growth as an actor.
Yeah.
Right?
Can you sing? Do you consider yourself a good singer?
I don't consider myself a singer, but I could hold a note, and I think with proper training, it's funny you should say that because for the song that I chose to perform for that was from Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper.
Oh, Star is Born?
Star is Born. Yeah. And I did a song that Bradley Cooper sung from A Star is Born. Like,
Nice.
the big one. Like, no, not the big one with Lady Gaga. No, not at all, right? Because I remember hearing a story.
I'd love to see that, though.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what can happen. No. I remember reading an interview with him about the making of that film, that when Lady Gaga agreed to do it, she's like, okay, but you're going to sing too, right? And he's like, well, I am, or might get someone to dub over me because I'm not much. She goes, well, let's hear you sing. And he sang a bit for her, and she's like, Bradley, you're a singer, right? You know, he wasn't trained or anything, but you had enough. She's like, you have enough there.
Yeah.
Right? So, and I think that's where I would consider myself as far as singing goes. I'd have enough there that I would, with some coaching and some proper professional training and everything, I could hold
That you
a
would
note.
get through the rehearsal
I could get
process.
through it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the song that he sang from that. I sang in my audition for the King Black Box Theater. And
Nice.
It was a lot of fun, and I walked out of that audition on cloud a million. I was like,
Yeah?
It's like I did a really intense piece, Aaron Sorkin monologue from Boston Legal.
Okay.
A James Spader piece where he just eviscerates and tears into the Supreme Court of the United States because they're about to execute a mentally disabled person for murder, right? Like, you're like, thanks a lot, guys. What have you been doing at this institution? You've turned it into a protector of discrimination.
Do the monologue now. And now is the part of the podcast where we have the live performance.
That's the part where we act.
I didn't tell you, but you should always have a monologue prepared.
Right,
so.
it's always in the back pocket. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I did that. I did a Shakespearean sonnet, which I've had in my back pocket forever, and I've loved it. It's such a beautiful little piece. And then I did the Bradley Cooper song, and I walked out going, "That was awesome. I don't think I could have done any better."
Wicked.
But I didn't get a call saying, "Okay, well, we're doing our first play, and come do it." But then Sophie Rooney, like I said, to go back to her generosity and how much she promotes actors in this industry and people, when they were doing their first play, The Glory of Living, one of the main actors couldn't make it for one night, so they needed someone to understudy for me. So my phone rings, and it's Sophie. I'm like, oh, what's Sophie calling? I'm like, hey, Sophie. She's like, Sean, I just was thinking, to help with your growth as an actor, we have our one actor, Mark Kretter, link below, amazing actor. Just finished doing a play called Bigfoot out in Port Stanley Festival. It was hilarious in it.
Nice.
We have our one actor, Mark, who's playing this pivotal role, this lawyer in this scene, and he can't make it for one night. we thought maybe you come in and you could understudy for him for the one day. And I was like,
that's so cool.
so what do you think? And I'm like, Sophie, why do you ask the question to which you already know the answer? Right? Yeah, let's do it. I'm like, this is such a gift. I'm like, I will go do it. And like, so, I would study what Mark was doing, and I'm studying the play and reading the play, and they're like, Sean, we're going to create this character called a bailiff, and you can be the one that introduces people before the play starts and helps bring people into the audience, into the thing. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go all out here. I'm going to put on the Southern accent, do the whole thing, and like, I'm going to be in character as soon as the thing shows up. So I got to do that for it. And
that's
then
so fun.
The night of the play, where I got to take over. Sophie sent me this beautiful, supportive message saying how much she believed in me and how much she was behind me. She's always in every actor's corner.
Aww.
And I read this message to the rest of the cast that she'd written to me in support, and they're all like, it's fantastic, Sean. She really believes in you. But I had to turn it around, and I wrote a letter back to Sophie saying I knew there was at least 13 reasons why that night was going to be an amazing night, and the reasons were, and then I just named off the name of every other cast member that was in the play. I said, this is why I know this is because of you guys, and this isn't just going to be my night, this is going to be our night. And it really was an amazing night. Like, I got to work with this actress, Madison Kahn, who was such a giving performer, who was playing the lead character in the play. This guy Lewis, who was playing the antagonist, frighteningly scary with how well he portrayed his character Clint. Another actress, Diana Aguilar, who was also understudying the main role. She got to play a different character in the play during the whole run, but she understudied for 2 roles. She reached out to me before rehearsals, and she was like, Sean, since we're both understudying, and we're understanding if characters are going to interact, she had this idea like, well, then why don't we get together and run lines with each other?
Oh, nice.
Because that way we get to rehearse, but we're not going to get used to hearing the other actor do it that we're going to end up working with. So when we do it with that actor, it will be fresh and original.
Oh,
and
that's
I
such
was
a
like,
good idea.
that's a great idea. So I got to work with her, and she's so gifted, and Bridget Ory, and I got to watch Mark do his part, and Julie Dawkins, like this whole cast, Mirko, like, I can go on and on and on and on, but like, there's names. Stephanie, who played multiple roles in it, it was great. And then Ziggy, who was the casting director, like, I'm just going to drop names like crazy. And it was just this amazing, glorious experience. Right?
That's so
and
nice.
And it was, I think word started to catch fire that something special was happening at the King Black Box Theatre. And now they're going into their second production called Girls Unwanted, by Canadian playwright George F. Walker, renowned Canadian playwright George F. Walker. They start their run next week, September 5th to the 29th. Link below. For Girls Unwanted, you got to go see it. So
I love it.
That's the acting
amazing.
studio that I study at, and I recommend to all actors out there, whether you're new or you've got some experience or you've got a lot of experience and you want to keep your skills sharp, find the teachers that are out there. Like Philip Seymour Hoffman said himself, find the teachers and study with them, study with everybody you can. So there's a number of different acting studios out there. Find the one, try them all. Find the one that works with you. You're going to find that one lesson from an acting coach or teacher somewhere that could really click with you.
Yeah.
And you might go, oh wow, okay. And that could just open so many doors for you and help you go from being a performative actor to someone more grounded and in the character, right? Because I find myself like, I could be a little, maybe you can tell I can be a little over the top sometimes, no?
You?
I know.
Never.
Sometimes I can take it too far.
Speaking of
which, right? And I can be a bit more performative when I'm always striving to be as authentic and grounded as possible. And I'm not quite there yet, but I have these moments. Right? Like I did Madison Kahn, who I mentioned before, I got to work with in that play. She cast me in a short film that they did, where I got to play a police officer. That's coming soon, folks. The link will be provided eventually. I got to do a role in a short film that she did, and I remember shooting it. and it's like my Law and Order moment because I'm playing this police detective. And I just remember shooting it and a couple times going, this isn't quite, I'm not quite getting there, I'm not quite getting. And then there was just this one moment where it's like everything just kind of fell into place. It was like I feel like I'm here, I'm there. This character is in me, and like I'm not here anymore. The character's just living, and it's coming out.
Yes.
And it felt like a pure moment. And then it was like cut, like get that back. I can't do it.
Yeah.
That better be the one.
No,
Like,
right? Like no.
no, dude, that no more. I don't know if I
Stay.
can get back there, right?
That's right.
So you get these moments, and it's all from the training I've done at Raw and the beautiful people I've got to work with, from the first student films with Savannah and Abe, and Austin, up to the things I've done since then.
That's amazing.
All up to now. Like, I've been really fortunate. Like, I've done a lot of commercial auditions, but I got to co-star in an independent feature film, horror film called Invited, which is out now.
Yes. Very cool film.
Yeah. Oh,
Link below.
Did you get to see?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't seen the whole thing, but I've seen the commercial. And I've watched all of my favorite.
And people. Some of the people in it.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
You've had a couple
So I
of
had Martina and Mandy.
Okay, let's talk about Martina and Mandy for a moment.
Let's talk about Martina and Mandy.
Let's talk. You know what? Okay. Like the guys that I've met in this industry are fantastic.
Yes.
But you women are blowing me away.
We're just killing it.
24/7. Like, oh, you are crushing it, and you you inspire me. Like, from Sophie at
great.
Raw to Mandy Magnan, who is a
Little
show
powerhouse.
force herself,
Yeah.
to Martina, who played my wife in that movie. I remember the first time acting with her, I was like, okay, so that's where the bar is. She's got up here. Time to rise
They're
up to
both
that.
so good. I
Right?
love
yeah,
them.
like I'm. Here's something for all you actors out there who experience being scared when you're auditioning or stuff like that. I'll tell you a story that working with
Please
Mandy
do.
has definitely taught me. So Mandy called me up and sent me a script, and she's like, I have this short film that I'm hoping you want to be in and maybe co-produce with me. And I was like, well, I'm saying yes before I've even read the script because I trust Mandy as an artist, as a storyteller, as a performer.
Nice.
Watching her work in Invited, I was like, are you really pregnant? Even though I know it's like
It's a belly.
it's just a fake belly. Just watching her work in that, just like these women are like, okay, all right, you're throwing down the gauntlet. I see it. I see you.
Right.
I see you. So she had this script for this project called Desire, and I read it. I was like, this is twisted and fucked. I'm in. Let's do it. Right.
Nice. That's wicked.
It's amazing. I'm like, yes, I will. I'll co-star in it with you. I will co-produce it with you. Whatever. Like, you want to shoot it in my house because my house is a nice house. And
Humble brag. No, I'm just kidding.
thanks to Karen, my sister, more than anything else. Right. But so we produced this film, and I will tell you, so from the casting process, when you're auditioning, I'm looking directly in the camera now because I want every actor to hear this. When you are auditioning for something, the people on the other side of the table are really, genuinely, 100% rooting for you. They really are, because I got to be on that side of the table when we were casting this film.
Yeah.
And every time we would look at somebody's self-tape, before we would hit play, we're like,
I hope this is the one.
I hope this is the one. I really want this person to do this. I'm like, come on, you got this. You can do this. Because when you're on that side of the table, you have a problem. I have a character that I need someone to play, and I need you to be the person that solves this problem for me.
Yeah.
So every casting tape we watch, we're like, come on. And then the ones that didn't work, we're like, it's too bad, right? But then every so often you can see that one person, you're like, oh, that's it, right? Thank you for solving my, because so the people on that side of the table, you've heard this before when you walk into that audition room, you send them a self-tape, they're like, they trust me. From experience, they are definitely going, go, do it, yay, be my problem solver.
Did you learn anything else from being on that side of the table for casting?
For casting, well, you just being the person I wanted to reach out to every single person that auditioned for me and send them, okay, here's the things you probably shouldn't be doing in a self-tape. And here's the things you could be doing better. At the very least, like, turn your camera this way. It's not a TikTok video you're auditioning for.
I know,
right?
And
Get the blank wall behind you, not not the TV playing a basketball game as you're auditioning this super dramatic scene,
No
because I'm
way.
like, my eyes are now going to the TV play instead of you.
No way.
Yeah, all these little itty bitty
don't do
mistakes.
that.
Yeah, don't do that. But yeah, and I don't envy casting directors having to go through all those tapes and
On repeat, the same.
Yeah,
It must get a little dry, a little.
I would imagine it.
So then whenever they're like, do something different,
Yeah.
or like throw something at us,
Yeah.
that makes sense because they're gonna get hundreds of the
They are.
same
Yeah.
vibe or breakdown of the script.
And
that
I
they've
think
been
you've
given.
heard those stories before where the casting directors start watching tapes and they're 5 seconds and they're like, nope,
Yeah,
nope,
that scares me.
right, nope. Right,
Yeah, yeah.
Right. But then when you want to be that one that's going to hold them for at least 5 or 6 seconds, so they go, okay, let's watch some more of this. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
So that's, yeah. I learned that the casting directors are generally rooting for you, but they want to see something quick.
That's true. That's true.
Right.
We want you to do it, and we want you to do it now.
That doesn't mean go crazy,
Yeah.
right? But yeah,
Yeah. Reasonable choices.
reasonable choices. Yeah.
Take bold choices. They're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Not not insane
Right?
choices. But
Yeah.
be brave. Be authentic. Be yourself. Be original. Trust
Yes.
your instincts. And a lot of the time, I don't know. I guess this is people are on the fence and debating about this. The casting directors, they know what they want. Do they?
Do they though?
Do they really? Right? Maybe they think they know what they want, but then you show them something that they didn't
may
go,
surprise
oh,
them.
I wasn't thinking of that. Oh. And that might grab their attention, right? So
That's true.
I think I'm at the stage now whenever I audition, it's like, I'm not going to give you what I think you want. I'm going to give you what I want to give
Which
you.
is such a tricky
It is.
thing,
Right.
but so important. Like, it is so important to make that switch.
Yeah.
Because then, you're authentic, you're
Yep.
unique, you're you, because there is only one of you.
Right.
And guessing what they want is
Yeah. Yeah.
could
like
go a
the-
million different ways.
I don't
Good
really,
luck.
I don't really know how you see the character, but this is how I see the character, so this is how I'm going to
Yeah,
play him. If it works
exactly.
for what you want to do, fantastic. If not, no
Yeah,
worries.
yeah,
No problem, right?
exactly.
Everybody knows the Bryan Cranston advice or the
Yes.
Michael Keaton advice. The audition is the job.
Yes,
You go in and you do
yeah.
the job, and this is the way I would do it. And if it's the way you want it, great. If not, no worries. There's going to be
It
another-
also gets rid of, for me, the desperation of like, oh, I'm gonna do this the way you want me to do this, or
Right.
like, I hope you like me, that kind of thing. It's like,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
here I have, take it or leave it. Like
Yeah.
it either, like you said earlier, it either fits the story or
Yeah.
it doesn't,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have anything to do with whether it was good or bad. It's
Right.
down to the story.
And I can give you like concrete examples of it. So when I auditioned for Invited,
yeah.
I didn't know exactly how they wanted it, but when I read the character description and the scene, I'm like, this is how I would play this character, and I played it the way I wanted to play it, right? Like, I think the character could have been played as a complete dick throughout the whole thing, or as a complete sympathetic, and I'm like, when I examined the character and thought about it a bit more, I'm like, this is a guy who I think is still genuinely in love with his ex-wife. And he's the guy who's stuck in between the love he has for his ex-wife and the family that holds grudges against the ex-wife because of tragic things
Right.
that have happened that were kind of her fault, right? So he will lash out at her, but he'll also defend her at the same time. So I played it like that, and the directors and the writer were
Boom.
like, "Yeah,
Booked.
you're the only one that actually caught that."
That's so
Like, well, that was
funny.
just fortunate. And then
Yeah.
with Too Far, the Tommy Sherwood
Link
comedy
below,
series,
'cause it's hilarious. Oh my god!
I remember getting the audition for that, where to play the doctor who's taking the interns on the rounds
Yeah.
for the first time and setting them up and like, okay, here's the challenging stuff that you guys are all going to get, right?
Yeah.
And I remember when I got the part, Tommy and the producers were like, everybody else who auditioned were kind of playing the doctor like this maniac, like almost like
Oh,
joke,
like an evil,
the Joker
like
from,
mad
yeah,
scientist
mad scientist
kind of vibe.
right? Whereas your guy was a bit more grounded and more like, this is the job.
Yeah.
I'm giving, the bad news we have to pass on to these patients every so often. This is the job, right? Then it gets a little twisted and dark in certain parts where they get to play with it.
It's
Like,
so funny. I love it so much. I've showed everyone. Link below.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Because it starts off kind of like, okay, guys, this is like, this
Totally
is the bad
normal.
news, right? And then, but then, when the lights go red and they get
the camera angle.
and like, there, it's like, there.
So good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Right now,
So
get the
funny.
puppets dance for me. Right.
Yeah.
But no, I played the character in the audition the way I wanted to play it, and they reached out like, yeah, that's great. That's what we want, right?
That's amazing.
Right. And I think that's what you have to do.
So pays off.
Pays off. It can pay off.
Pays off doing it how you think it should be done.
You're right.
Not worrying about external
it should
crap.
be done. Yes. Do your own thing.
That's amazing. And you wanted to talk about, we talked about earlier your audition for The Dark Side of Comedy.
Yes.
Tell me how that happened.
So, I did a TV show called not Fear. I have done Fear Thy Neighbor, but I did a TV show called
Another Canadian Rite of Passage.
Yeah,
Fear
another
Thy
Canadian.
Neighbor.
Yeah, you got to get a Fear. Well, although that's funny. So the Fear Thy Neighbor episode that I did hasn't aired yet.
No way.
Yeah, and then we shot it a year and a half ago, coming up maybe almost 2 years ago. And I believe if you look at the history of the show and all the episodes they've done, it's the only episode that's not set in North America.
No way.
It's actually set in Australia.
Oh, really?
So I had to put on
an Aussie accent.
An Aussie accent.
Oh, no.
It probably wasn't the best Aussie accent.
Yeah.
In fact, I know it wasn't the best, but the
Link
show.
below.
Well, I can't give it a link because it's not out yet.
When it comes up, I'll find it as soon as it's
I'm
out.
anxious to see it, right?
That's hilarious.
But when the showrunner was like, "Yeah, Sean, your accent was fine. It was a lot. It was a lot better than everybody else's that we." And I was like, "Really?" Like, yeah. And they actually paid for a little bit of private coaching to.
Oh, that's nice.
Before
thank God, I feel a lot better.
Yeah. So I did that episode, but I did another show very similar to that. The name is I'm so bad with names.
Haunted Hospitals or See No Evil. Those are the ones I've done.
Yeah, it's not those.
Fear Thy Neighbor.
It's a new one.
The Dark Side of Comedy is a reenactment.
It's called A Secret to Die For.
A Secret to Die For.
A Secret to Die For, right? So all the people have. I did an episode of that, and there were multiple people on that show saying to me, like, "Man, you remind us of Phil Hartman."
No way.
And I was like, "Really? Like, I will take that." Phil Hartman is a legend.
Right.
He was super funny guy, super
him.
skilled
So
Canadian
funny.
actor.
Yes.
I helped put SNL on the map during a certain time period. I was like, I will take that compliment. Did voices for The Simpsons. I'll take that compliment 24/7. Right?
Yes.
And then a few weeks later, I got an audition to play Phil Hartman on this TV series, The Dark Side of Comedy.
That's amazing.
So like, are we going full circle? Is this fate?
That's
So
nuts.
like they're like, okay, and for that show, your audition is usually just like, send us some pictures of what you look like, and then tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
And in my tell them about yourself, I told them, a couple of interesting tidbits about me.
You start the tape, you're like, well, hi there.
I did.
Did you?
I did.
Like, let me just put on the voice.
Hi there, Sean Irvine, attorney at law. All right. Like they're like, and I'm like, if you people know this, then you'll get it, right?
Yes.
But at the end of the interesting time, it's so funny that you have me auditioning because I just did a TV show, and then on the TV show, everybody was saying I reminded of Phil Hartman. So thank you very much for the opportunity. And then like a week or two later, like, you're the guy. You're the guy that's gonna,
so
reenact
fun.
Phil Hartman. I mean, it's all like, behind the shoulder and soft focus.
Still fun to do.
It's still fun to do.
And be on
and it was
set,
still
right?
it was an honor and a privilege to to remind people of this man's story.
Yeah.
And like, it had a very tragic ending.
Yeah.
But his life before that, the gifts that he gave.
Yeah, he's just so
the
amazingly
artistic community
talented.
and the community of story is something that you hope is never forgotten.
Yes.
Right. So
yes.
anything you can do to help remind people of that was something I was
Right.
privileged to do.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. Because I mean, he passed so long ago now that
Yeah.
this generation won't even know
Yeah.
who he is.
Yeah. But
He's great.
Great.
I love him.
what do we say? Link below, right?
Yeah, that's right. Link below. Google it, kids.
Google it, kids. So, yeah, it was an honor to play him in that.
That's amazing.
Right, like I don't think I could have done complete justice. That they're like, okay, we're going to record sound. Now do a whole stand-up routine and do his frozen caveman lawyer or do his
That's right.
do his Troy McClure.
You just study it at home,
Yeah.
watch the tapes.
That's what I did in my audition. They're like,
Yeah?
hi, I'm actor Troy McClure. You might remember me from such films as Centipede. Why are my feet so tired? And like,
I love it.
Right.
That's hilarious.
and they're like, well, if you're doing this show, you'll get the reference. If you don't get the reference,
exactly.
what are you doing?
Why are you on this
Why
show?
are you doing this show? Right?
So true. So true. I love that.
Yeah.
That's smart. That's a good. Yeah. I can't believe I was saying earlier before we started filming that I had watched that episode and didn't realize that it was before we met. So I didn't even realize it was you. And then when I read your bio and you're like, and I did this, and I was like, that was you.
I gotta look it up.
I love it. It's so
Yeah.
cool. And yeah, he's an icon.
He is.
He's very legendary.
Canadian legend icon
Yeah,
for sure.
Amazing.
Right? So,
Yeah, wicked.
That's my interaction with Canadian legendary icons. Same school job at Neil McNeil, like John Candy had, and then doing the Phil Hartman reenactment.
That's amazing.
Right?
So far.
So far. Mike
right.
Myers, give me a call anytime. Right?
Yeah, he's totally watching this.
Oh yeah, of course he is. Oh, you gotta he's gonna that name's gonna hashtag up the wazoo.
Send it to Mike, everybody.
Right? Yeah. Jim Carrey, hey.
Let's just name drop everybody we want to work
Who are
with
Canadian
right
famous
now.
actors, Canadian funny actors. Actually, I mean that's a legendary pool of I already said kids in the hall. Like,
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Name drop, name drop.
Yeah.
We're here. We're ready. We're funny.
It's time for you to be discovered. We're funny. Right. That worked for Tommy. Oh, Tommy's American, but Tommy's funny.
Tommy's hilarious.
Yeah.
Check out his Too Far show.
Yes.
So funny.
Yeah.
So good. And yeah, you're in episode 2, right?
Episode 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
1 and 2 was the
That's
first two
right.
episodes. Yeah, 1 and 2.
So funny.
The chiropractor in
Yeah.
episode 1 and the interns in episode 2.
That'll be fine.
Dun, dun, dun. Just to get the other
I
side
love
down.
it.
Poor Tom.
So funny. It's like the best kind of ridiculous.
Yes.
I find.
It is
Yeah.
the best kind of ridiculous. Oh,
I love
great.
it so
Fun
much.
ridiculousness.
Yes.
But enough about me. What about you?
Enough about you. No, this time it's all about you.
All right.
I have like 2 final questions for you. And
Okay,
then
well,
we
enough
can
about me.
wrap up.
What do you think about me?
I don't know. I think you're a little too much. I'm just kidding. You're like me. Never.
Fine, take this mic
Never.
off. I'm getting out of it.
Actors being too much?
No. Actors don't speak at all unless they're told what to say. Just give me script. Words bad. Meh.
Sorry.
I have words. All right,
I'm
now I
but a
will
puppet.
eloquently speak because I have this all memorized.
Yeah, because we've done the work. We've done the homework.
That's right. Yeah.
That's right. So where you are now in life,
Yes.
you're happy, you're doing the thing. What is some advice that you would give to your younger self?
Grow a spine, you cowardly little. No.
And if you were nice to your younger
Oh,
self.
oh, I have to be nice. What advice would I give to my? I don't know if I would give my younger self advice.
Yeah, you liked how it all.
You know, like it's worked. It never works out to plan. It's like
Right.
What's that?
What's a plan?
What's that saying about God laughing when you make?
Yeah,
you know,
it's- yeah,
That
make a
sound
plan
of
and-
laughter is like, Shh, God, what the heck? God, I
Yeah.
have plans here. It's
I
not
plan
what's
to
so funny.
absolutely fail at acting.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Like I've been fortunate that things have worked out the way they have.
Yeah.
Like people say, "Oh, would you change anything?" Well, no, I wouldn't. Because if you change one thing, then there's that whole butterfly effect, and you never know which way
right.
it's going to go. And I have met so many amazing people in my life, and been blessed to have their paths cross mine.
All linked
Whether
below.
my best friend is this woman that lives out in Victoria, BC, and this woman named Anna, and I never would have met her probably if I'd done 1 or 2 different things.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? If I stayed in the sports nutrition industry, I wouldn't be doing the path that I'm on now. Or if I'd gone back to film school, and there's all these choices I've made in my life that have led down different paths. But
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate anyway. Like things have happened the way they were supposed to happen. So my advice to my younger self would probably be be a bit more, have more faith in yourself. For sure. Definitely have more faith in yourself. Believe in yourself. That imposter voice is just
lying
it's a lot.
bastard.
This is what I've said to people about the imposter voice that's in your head. everybody has that voice in their head.
Yes.
Right? And it gets louder and louder and louder. And the reason it gets louder is because volume is all it has. There's no truth to it. There's no validity to it. It's only trying to have itself heard over any of those other voices in your head that are saying you can do it. Right? It's just loud because that's all it has.
Wow.
Where you have that other voice in your head that's saying, you can do it. Believe in yourself. And it's speaking quietly with purpose, because when you speak quietly, people have to lean in and listen. And that's what it's doing. It's like, I'm going to speak quietly because I want you to lean in and listen to me and really hear what I have to say. You can do it. Believe in yourself. Whereas the other voice, no, you can't do it. It's just trying to drown out the other voices.
Yeah.
'Cause that's the only tool it has.
Damn, you just saved me so much therapy. That's amazing.
Right?
I really like that.
Yeah. So
That is life-changing.
when that voice is screaming,
all it has is volume.
all it has is volume.
That's nuts.
It's the only thing it's got.
I hope Instagram loves this. That's so cool. That is so good to know.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, keep telling everybody that.
I
That
tell
is
it. That's me, the golden retriever, going out to everybody like,
Yeah.
believe in yourself. You can do it. Right? Right?
Yeah.
And not like when I, I'm older than most people that I'm meeting in this industry, and they're all like half my age or whatever like that. But we don't need to mention age.
But you don't look it.
No, I don't look it. I age just fine. Right. But like all the younger people that I meet, I'm like, I've relished that opportunity to keep encouraging them and like say, believe in yourself, and like what you're chasing dream-wise. Yeah, it is a long shot if you want, like the upper echelon of success, but there's still something about what you're chasing that is driving you and is what you feel is right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different places where you can land and still be really, really happy.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, there's this common misconception, especially for people who are not creatives, that it's either starving actor or A-list celebrity.
Yeah.
And there's nothing in between. There's so much
in between. Right?
Yeah.
There really is.
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
advice to marry yourself, just believe in yourself a little bit more and stay the course.
Love it.
Like it's, things will happen the way they're supposed to happen. And there have been, tragic moments in my life and equally gifting moments, like, losing loved ones, right? But that's all part of life, right?
Yeah.
Things that you have to put up with, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't change it. So far, I wouldn't change anything for the world.
Amazing.
lucky.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
Was that?
I think that's all the questions I had.
Yeah, I got two questions that I
was just like sitting here being like, did I have another question? I'm
Well, let's just turn to our callers.
Yeah.
Okay, callers, call 1-800.
All right, you're
Talk Sean,
you're
right?
live. Go ahead.
I was wondering. Hi, Allison, long-time listener, first-time caller. Can you play Stairway to Heaven for me now? I'm tired of listening to this guy.
Who calls into radio shows?
Yeah, right. Who are these lonely people? Now I'm going to stay up late tonight and call it. I thought she might be lonely, so I'd call.
Can you play Stairway to Heaven for me, please?
I think I just showed my age by doing that.
No, I still do that.
I know, but like,
But but now
young
they
people
do
would
this.
do this.
Yeah.
Right, but like this is,
Nah,
this is
is real.
the old manual phone.
Good old rotary.
Yeah.
Gonna call
Oh, I
into
messed it up. I gotta hang up,
call
start all
into the
over.
radio.
Quickly, want to win the contest? Want to win those tickets to
Yeah.
Aerosmith? Duran. Again, we're going way back. Right?
Love it. Well, thank you so much for being a guest
Thank you for
on
having
my
me. This
podcast.
has been
This
so
was
much
a
fun.
fabulous conversation.
I know.
Thank
I mean,
you.
no.
There it is.
There it
That's
is.
the confidence
You
I
can
want.
tell.
I know.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm so happy.
Yes. Is there anything that I didn't talk about that you wanted to talk about?
Probably lots of stuff. Future projects. I have a the lead role in a feature film called The Dendril, coming out
Nice.
probably sometime in 2025.
Okay.
That was if you go back to my story feed or my Instagram feed, you will see for all the actors out there that I'd like stick with it. Your dreams can come true. There's a video of me walking off set where I do a little self-tape thing to anybody who's watching it, saying this is why you do it. Like dreams can come true, and the gifts that you can be given by pursuing the things you want to do can really happen. And I remember walking off that set the first time, like, did that really just happen? Oh my God. So I had to I got to thank the world, the universe, my sister, Morgan, for casting me in this movie and everything like that. So that's
amazing.
Yeah, it really was.
Wicked.
So, yeah, that's coming out. And maybe another episode of Too Far if things do well for Tommy and the group.
Yep. Amazing.
Look for some commercials. You might see me coming up in soon. And,
Excellent. Excellent.
More stuff at the King Black Box Theater in the future, and as many other shorts and stuff. Just I love to play.
Yes.
And that's where this acting started, right? In plays, right?
100% play.
Let's play.
Yes. Amazing. Thank you again so much.
Thank you.
You to you. Yay. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had so much fun, had as much fun as I did.
Sorry.
I hope that you liked this interview. I hope you comment below, tell me your favorite part, and please subscribe. We love when you subscribe. And I'll see you in the next interview.